Thanks, babe. Appreciate it.
No idea, sir. Oh, over there. That's the shoot too.
Are you live?
Connections weak. Can I log into your account
Huh?
so that I can keep track of the stuff?
It's only on 13%.
I don't think anybody's watching it anyways.
I just got a notification that you were live. So, do the same.
You know you can see it on the screen, right?
What?
The questions.
Yeah, but it's delayed. That's why. Because I want to be 3 minutes after something. Huh? Is that logged in for you now?
Turn it on now.
Hey guys, I was trying to get one of our phones logged in so that I could see the questions as they were coming in. Taper offset. Hey guys, you need peanut gallery to be quiet. Anyway, so taper offset. Let me turn that down. Taper offset, all that is basically offsetting the taper. That's basically where it comes from. Your blanks, your rods, whatever process you're putting your wrap on there, you have to deal with the taper. So, with that being said, at the tip end, or the smaller area where your wrap's going to be, you're not going to have as much room to fit threads as you would on the butt side. So to eliminate any of that frustration with trying to get those last minute threads in there, people use taper offset. Now my method is to use the Excel sheet. It works really great for me. I don't have to worry about doing any math. If you don't know where that Excel sheet is, I uploaded it into the file section for Southern. But anyway, so as I'm doing this, I'm also going to try to show you. If I can get the camera to switch. So there's the Excel sheet that is in the file section. This is how I do my stuff. As I said, I'll go over a couple other ways that you can do it if the Excel sheet's not your cup of tea, or you can't get it to work for you for some reason. I went ahead and just got some different measurements off of a rod I was working on, which are these over here. So I went ahead and got the length, the butt, the mid, and the tip for the area that the wrap would be going. So at this point with the Excel sheet, all you have to do is open it up and enter in your information. So at the top where it says length of pattern area, you have to do this in millimeters. So this is going to be a 10-inch wrap, so that's 254 millimeters. The base was 48.29. With this method, I don't round up. I let the computer do what it's going to. Mid was 44.75. Tips 41.98. Alright. Now with this, the really cool thing about this is you can adjust how many patterns you're going to see. And down here where it says adjusted length, in order for you to see 6 repeats of the pattern, it wants you to extend it another 26 millimeters. If you don't want to do that, you can change it and it will shrink it down to what will fit as well. Like I said, I never have any issues with this way. And then over here it generates all your points for your centers. This is just the centers. Will do, Steven. Hopefully the connection's not crappy over here. It keeps telling me that it's weak. Anyway, so this is the center. So if you were gonna do 6 repeats, then you would do 41.9, 43.1, so on and so on for the 0 axis. And then on the 180 axis, that's the numbers down here at the bottom, the 20.9 all the way to the 47.5. So it looks like it's breaking up pretty bad for you guys for the Excel sheet, so I might have to move where I'm at. Looks like it's pretty froze. The other thing about this Excel sheet that also is pretty useful, if you want to do a stretch to fit or an elongated pattern, it also has a section for that. I won't go over this crazily because we've already done a video on it before. So now the other method for finding taper offset is you use the exact same numbers that you got or that I used before, and you do a tiny bit of math with it. It's not insane, it's just a tiny bit of math. So with these numbers being the ones that I'm working with, for this scenario I am going to change these to whole numbers for ease of use, because nobody wants to work with decimals. Now, what you do is on the 180 axis, your tip is smaller than your butt, correct? So when you're doing this way, which is the way I used to do it before I started using the Excel sheet, you take these numbers and instead of putting the butt at the butt end of the wrap, you're going to flip them. So your tip number 42 starts down here, okay, and then over here you end with 48, and then you would just progress all the way. So, well, it's not evenly spaced, but you would just count up 42 all the way to 48, right? Makes that easy. Now, here's where the math part of it comes in. Hey Gilbert. On the 0 axis, okay, in order for you to get 7 whole patterns on the top, you have to take these numbers and divide them in half. That's also why on the Excel sheet, this first number right here on the 180, it has it on the 180, but on the 180 axis is 20.9. Now I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, it doesn't matter if you do this on the 180 or if you do this on the 0. Just one of the axes has to be flipped, or they both have to be flipped, but one of them gets to keep the whole numbers, and then you do a little bit of math for the other one. Okay, it does not matter. It's just for teaching purposes. The 180 is going to have the whole number, and the 0 is going to be the little bit of math. Okay, so at this point, you take 42 and you divide by 2. So half of 42 is 21. Okay, sorry, I'm having to do this off the top of my head. So that would be your first number that would start here, okay? That actually falls in between where this one lines up. Alright, and now your next step is to take 42 plus 43 and find the median, which I'm not doing that. and 43. That equals 85. And then you're going to divide that by 2, which equals 42.5. Everybody with me so far? And that's the number that goes in between these two right here on the 0 axis. And then to get this number, you take 43 and 44. I'm not going to write it down again. That equals 87. You divide it by 2. That's 43 and a half. Fits in between these. 44 and 45. Which is 44.5. Now obviously you probably wouldn't be working with such easy numbers normally. And you just keep going like that. 47, 48, 47, 47, not 2, 47.5. Now this last number here is 48 divided by 2. And that's how you would do the math version of it. Now the next step would be do this arrow so I know they go in between. You're supposed to be able to add the top row up and it's supposed to equal the length of your wrap. See, this time I got lucky. A lot of times I was having problems having both of these numbers work out to be the same. But lo and behold, for once, when I go live, it actually works. Which is great, because normally everything fails for me. But if you do notice that this equals to 315 versus the 254 here. So that's one way to do it. I just never had a lot of luck doing it this way. So I went to the Excell version. Another way that you can find or that you can deal with taper offset, it's not, personally, I've never tried to do it, but a lot of people have, and they've had success with it. Whatever your wrap is, they usually say in between it, so right around the 5-inch mark, because this was supposed to be a 10-inch wrap. So 45 is your circumference in the middle, 45 millimeters. So I've heard that if you use the 45 for the spacing all the way, you should be able to fit everything in. I can't vouch for this method because I've never done it. But everybody's different. So 45 would be the distance between all of your center marks. But once again, on the top, you would have to take that 45 and divide it by 2. so that you don't end up with a half pattern on the top. So even though these don't line up, this would actually be the first one. And then the rest of these would be 45. And then this one would be 22.5. So that's another way. Like I said, I haven't done this. I can't speak whether it's brutally awful trying to deal with it or not. I just use the Excel sheet because that's the easier way for me. Like I said, this way is not bad once you understand where the numbers are coming from. You know, everybody's a little bit different, and different things work for different people. But taper offset is something I do recommend. I did a pattern that I just kind of threw down and didn't even care to do the spacing on, and I can tell you that if I had tried to close it properly, it would have gotten sliced off, because it was a test pattern, and it just did not do well. So, but like I said, I didn't take any kind of spacing into account. I just started putting threads down. So, but does anybody have any questions? I see a couple people are having some issues with the feed. What, mine?
Yeah. You fold the 4 hours.
But yeah, that's a few different ways. Now there's a few. Bob was saying earlier that he uses paper to sketch his out and size his patterns to the blank and stuff. And eventually, I've got to call Will to see what he's doing, because he does it. He says it's really easy. But and he just posted one. I think his name is Will. I hope I'm not calling him the wrong name, but he posted that wrap earlier today, and it looks amazing. So I'd be interested to have that phone call and see what his method is. But like I said, if you can use the Excel sheet, it just takes so much less work on your part. And even though this adjusts differently, you know, I always tell people go a little bit longer so that in case you screw up those first couple of patterns, which is pretty typical to happen. Some people say that they never have patterns mess up. I'm about 50-50 on that. Sometimes I lose a lot of pattern, and sometimes I don't lose any at all. So I really feel like it's the luck of the day. But yeah, so that's taper offset. Everybody always is talking about it, and I hear a lot of people say that they're frustrated with wraps. They don't even want to do them because they're having to move. Apparently I'm losing everybody. But as I was saying, a lot of people get frustrated with it and they just stop because they either don't know what they're doing wrong or they feel like that's the way it is, and it's just frustrating. But taper offset's not that hard. I know when I was first doing it, I actually made Wes do all the math for me because it never failed. No matter how I tried to do it, did not work out. At least not in the second scenario where it's supposed to equal the amount that your pattern is. You know, that one was 315, but both 0 and 180 added up to the same thing. So that's a start, but it's wrong. It probably should have been a progression of like 42 or 38 to 40 to, what was it? I can't even remember what it was now. Probably should have been a progression from 42 to 43 and a half to 45 to 47 and a half or 46 and a half maybe. I don't know. Like I said, I always had trouble with that, so math's not my thing. But I gotta wait 3 minutes, so I'm just gonna kind of sit here and talk, because I had to take my phone off Wi-Fi because I think it was interrupting. So while I'm waiting on that, I'll let you guys look at what the headache I'm staring at is. Woohoo! 16-axis craziness going on right there. I testing out a I haven't done a 16 axis before, so this is a test to see, one, if I can do it, two, to see what the color patterns look like together, because I don't want to just do bands for this rod. Call me an overachiever, whatever. So I was going to do one side is red, one side is yellow, and then the scale part itself is black. And then on the second thing I have set up over here, it will be, I'm going to try to imitate the stripes on the snake in the scales. So I think just out of frustration with having to pull a thread, cut, pull a thread, cut, pull a thread, cut, that I'm probably going to go with this one. I hope it looks good, because this one is just time consuming. But so I think I wasted enough time to see if you guys actually had any questions or not, and I'm not seeing any coming through. But if any of it's not clear, obviously you know how to get in touch with me or Wes. Yay, Michael! Yay! I'm excited. Did you see that?
What?
His daddy's cancer-free now.
Yay.
That's awesome. You should try her out. That's awesome. But yeah, like I was saying, I was pretty sure I wasted enough time. But last call, seriously, is there any questions? Because I'm not going to talk about taper offset for a month now. Because we talked about it during the day today. Nobody said anything. And then I did the live video tonight. And only like 3 or 4 people have been on. So I'm assuming everybody's a pro and they can like pop out a wrap by the end of the month. That'd be awesome. What? Alright, well, I'm going to go. I've got to go back to that 16 axis mess. But, you need me. You know where to find me. And if not, y'all have a great night. We will see you later.